Hey everybody, this is Gabriel Miguel. I'm the CEO of the Anastasia Foundation, or the soon-to-be Anastasia Foundation. Today's video is going to be what I would call a message of clarity, of peace, and hope for the current, present time, and the future. I really wanted to make this video for a long time, and I think now is the time to share the message that I want to share. Before I get into that, I wanted to give an update on the fundraiser that I was talking about in the last video. Thank you so much to everybody who's donated so far. We're at $150 a month in monthly donations out of $950 that we need. So if you'd be so kind as to donate, this basically covers the operational fees for our nonprofit. $950 a month is what we need just to get operational. Even if we don't get to the whole $950, I'll probably wind up, putting a couple hundred a month on my end anyway, and we're going to make it happen. The nonprofit is coming incredibly soon. That's basically where we're at. Getting into the video, I really wanted to, I just feel like now with everything that's been going on, with all this COVID craziness, with everything that's going on in the world, I see a lot of people that are wondering, about the future, this bright future that Anastasia describes, for example, or people who even aren't familiar with the Ringing Cedars books, wondering how everything is going to turn out, right? It's like we're blessed to have read these books and have a vision of such a beautiful future, but I really feel like there's some interesting things in the books and other things that I wanted to share that can really contextualize the times that we're in and give us a really good view of what's happening and where we're going to go. So I wanted to start off by sharing an article that was written by the World Economic Forum, believe it or not. I'm not into the World Economic Forum at all, and I'm sure a lot of you aren't either. They wrote a very interesting article, I believe in 2016, funny enough, and the title of the article, I'm reading it from my phone, it's on airplane mode. Don't worry about that, no radiation. The article is called "Welcome to 2030, I Own Nothing, Have No Privacy, and Life Has Never Been Better." Yeah, that's the title of the article. So here we go, right? I'm going to just jump through, share a couple quotes from this article. I'll probably put it up on the screen so you can see. I'll put a link to it. And before I get into this, I'm going to share this article and then share more bright things. I just kind of want to frame this all up. So, welcome to the year 2030. Welcome to my city, or should I say, our city. I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or clothes. So I'm skipping through here because it's a kind of long article. Essentially, in our city, we don't pay any rent because someone else is using our free space whenever we do not need it. My living room is used for business meetings when I'm not there. Once in a while, I'll choose to cook for myself. It's easy. The necessary kitchen equipment is delivered at my door within minutes. Shopping? I can't really remember what that is. For most of us, it's been turned into choosing things to use. When AI and robots took over so much of our work, we suddenly had time to eat well, sleep well, and spend time with other people. As if they didn't have time to do that before. Alright. The concept of rush hour makes no sense anymore, since the work that we can do can be done at any time. For a while, everything was turned into entertainment and people did not bother themselves with difficult issues. It was only at the last minute that we found out how to use all these new technologies for better purposes than just killing time. Check this out. Once in a while, I just can't believe this, guys. Once in a while, I get annoyed about the fact that I have no real privacy. Nowhere I can go and not be registered. I know that somewhere, everything I do, think, and dream of is recorded. I just hope that nobody will use it against me. All in all, it's a good life. Much better than the path we were on when it became so clear that we could not continue with the same model of growth. Alright, so that's essentially the vision of the World Economic Forum for the future, the vision of all these, you could say, I hesitate to call them elites because that would mean that they are people of notable or respectable status, but people who are in control of, large amounts of the monetary system, let's say, and ultimately that billionaire guy, from the 8th book, right? At any rate, let's cut that guy some slack. I'm sure he's okay. But anyway, this is the vision of their future, right? They have no privacy. Everybody is renting everything. You don't own anything, and life has never been better, right? They're just living it up. But there's one thing in this article that I found incredibly interesting, and where this ties into the ringing cedars. My biggest concern is all the people who do not live in our city, those we lost on the way, those who decided that it became too much, all this technology, those who felt obsolete and useless when robots and AI took over big parts of our jobs, those who got upset with the political system and turned against it. They live different kinds of lives outside of the city. Some have formed little self-supplying communities. Others just stayed in the empty and abandoned houses in small 19th century villages. And it's quite interesting that they are framing in this article that this is the year 2030 in this article, and that by this point, AI has already taken over a bunch of people's jobs, people have no privacy, etc., etc. And then on the other half, there's people who have split away from society, those that they have lost on the way, right? And people who have formed their own communities and gone away from the political system. And that's really the point I wanted to touch on in this video, is that people, during this whole coronavirus time is a time of things accelerating in the world. This whole coronavirus pandemic becomes a way for things in humanity to kind of accelerate. There was an interesting quote that Vladimir McGree shared that he got from Anastasia about this. I'm paraphrasing. I can try to find the whole thing and put it in the video, but it was something about coronavirus will have a dialogue with humanity in the language of action, right? And so essentially we have this crisis that we're living in, and it's forcing humanity down two paths, right? Which eventually lead to this thing that they talk about in 2030. One where there's the normal society where everybody lives and they don't have any privacy, and the other society where people are living in communities. And this is where Kin's domains come in. This is where I wanted to share this message that we're living in a time of, you could maybe say it's necessary, you could maybe say it's unavoidable that we have to go through something like this, or that we're going through something like this. But I think all in all, it'll lead towards the place where we're wanting to go. Who's to say that they'll be as successful as they plan to be with their 2030 vision, right? When maybe the King's domain model, maybe these people living outside the system will be more successful. And what I wanted to say is that I really feel like now is the time for us to get together and start building these communities. Now is the time for us to find each other and make connections, form groups, get land, and really start to do this. Not out of fear, though. It's not anything out of fear. I don't want anybody to be motivated by fear. And Anastasia herself says that we shouldn't be rushing, right? She always cautions against rushing and not planning things thoroughly and fully. So that's not what I'm advocating for, but I am advocating for us as readers of the books to come together in a more intentional way, to start forming these connections, start pooling our resources, start making the actual moves required to building this future that we're really working towards. And so to segue from the topic of this article into even more of the times that we're really living through, I recently rediscovered a pretty often overlooked part or quote in the third book in Space of Love. By the way, guys, I just can't help but share this, but I got Vladimir McGree's autograph in 2016. So that was really cool. I just can't help but share it. Anyway, this I just feel is so pertinent to our times, and I think it's a really encouraging message on the topic of humanity going in two directions. There's only two directions where we're going, as I see it. And I think you'll see Anastasia's perspective on this in a moment. Essentially, Anastasia is saying, everybody is choosing an unreliable path for themselves. They always get what is coming to them, not in the next life, but in this one. With the dawn of each new day, each one of us is given the opportunity to determine whether their path is true or not, and the choice is up to you. You are free to choose which path to take. You are a man. Become consciously aware of what you really are. You are a man born to be in paradise. Vladimir says, I asked her, where is it, this paradise? Who's been leading us into some kind of swamp? And she replied, man creates everything for himself. And this is the quote this next quote is really what I wanted to get into. Just try and fathom what she said next. She was affirming, after all, that the time has now come for the speeding up of some kind of processes in the universe. And those whose way of life does not correspond to the natural laws of being will be subjected to trials, at first in a most ordinary way, clear and understandable, and these trials will serve as a good sign for becoming consciously aware of their actions and the path they are following. For those who don't manage to do this, more troubles will ensue, and then they will have line with the natural laws of being. They'll have to forsake life in order to be regenerated after 9,000 years. Powerful words, right? But when you think about something like that in the context of what we're going through today, this whole COVID-19 pandemic, that whole thing, it really you start to see what's going on, right? You start to see humanity is really splitting. It's this time of trials for a lot of people, right? It's trials for a lot of people. This whole vaccine thing, all this stuff, trials, and people who are, who are living in line with the divine way of being, with the natural laws of the universe. I believe those kinds of people are protected and wanted and encouraged by the universe itself. Life supports life. I mean, it may be a strange thing to say, but my life has been pretty blessed during all this time. I mean, I have a business it's just gotten progressively better. A lot of aspects of my life have gotten a lot better during this time, as crazy as that sounds. Maybe that's not the truth for everybody, but I do want to say that I truly believe that God, being the manifested universe, takes care of those who are working in line with life. And Anastasia says that these people, you could think of all the people, a Klaus Schwab, right? A Bill Gates, a blah, 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 insert villain here, forsaking life, being regenerated after 9,000 years. We're going through a cleansing, right? As a species, right? This is what we're going through right now. This is what Anastasia was saying. Continuing, the next paragraph, I believe, is quite relevant to this. And it turns out, according to her, that miners tearing open the veins of the earth, modern medical doctors thrusting themselves into genetic engineering, mRNA, scientists inventing deadly products, vaccines, and everything else. All these have already been shown the first sign of trials in the form of their rejection by society and their failure to achieve financial peace of mind. Those of them who possess material goods today suffer even more from lack of moral satisfaction, as they are subconsciously aware of how harmful their activity is and how it is bringing no real good to anyone. So basically, that's it. I wanted to say that we're going through a time where it's perhaps unavoidable, perhaps necessary, and in Anastasia's words, accelerated process in the universe. This is page 154, 155, book 3, Space of Love, first edition, if you want to find that quote. But I really believe it's true, and that gives me peace of mind. I think that she's basically saying that the people who are against life, the natural laws of being, will go through trials, but that also has to mean that the opposite is true, that the people who are with life and co-creating with the universe will be supported, right? Those are the people that life wants. You and I are friends, the people who are, into ringing Cedars things, or just other people who are conscious and going along with the natural ways of being, will be supported by the universe. We're wanted and we're cared for. I truly believe this. And I wanted to share that message with everybody. because I think it just gives, context and can let us know that this bright future that Anastasia talks about is definitely coming. We're going to live through some amazing things in our lifetimes. I truly believe that. And we will get there. And I think now is the time. We see the vision of what people like the World Economic Forum and all those people want to do. But we know our vision, and our dream is the most powerful thing in the world. And this King's Domain vision can't be stopped. And I think now is the time. And so I really just wanted everybody to know this and to share this. I think it's an uplifting message. So that's pretty much it. I encourage you to get into our Facebook group. Just get involved in everything we're doing as much as you can, and chat with other people, make connections, try to build this together. The more we do this, the more we can manifest this beautiful vision. To that point, I wanted to remind you again. So if this video was valuable to you, please share with anybody else who might be into this, any other Ringing Cedars people. And lastly, I want to remind you again about the fundraiser. Please go to anastasiausa.land/donate and sign up for a monthly donation if you can. That would be amazing. We're trying to hit $9.50 a month. That'll help us do exactly what I'm telling you here. Bring more Ringing Cedars readers together in a powerful, meaningful way. And I mean, we're doing events all the time, and we have all kinds of plans. You can watch my last video if you want to get more detail, but it would be very, very much appreciated. Thank you again, everybody, and I will check in soon.